All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Yeah, great to be back.
You know, with the holidays upon us, I thought we'd look at something festive.
Festive and thrilling at the same time.
Exactly. We've got a review here of Carry On. It's a brand new thriller just dropped on Netflix,
Oh, yeah, I've heard of this one.
and it's got a very intriguing premise.
Lay it on me.
Okay, so picture this. Christmas Eve, a crowded airport, and a TSA agent who uncovers
Okay, hold on. Christmas Eve at an airport, that sounds...
stressful.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, well, yeah, that's kind of the point. The review says it's got this super claustrophobic atmosphere.
Especially with all the holiday travelers, everyone's rushing, trying to get to their families.
Yeah, exactly. And
Right.
right in the middle of this chaos, our main character, Ethan Kopek.
Ethan Kopek.
Yeah, he stumbles upon this, well, I don't want to spoil it.
No spoilers.
But let's just say he's forced to make a really tough decision,
Yeah.
a moral dilemma with,
Some pretty serious consequences, I'm guessing.
you guessed it, the review even calls it a powder keg situation.
Yeah. Wow, so the setting itself already creates this underlying tension, right? I mean, airports are already kind of anxiety-inducing, even without a ticking time bomb in the mix.
Totally. And the review highlights that saying that confined space really reflects Ethan's mental state. You know, like he's trapped by this choice he has to make.
Yeah, I can see that happening. The airport becomes like a physical representation of his internal struggle. He can't escape the situation, just like he can't escape the consequences of his decision.
Right. And speaking of Ethan, the review praises Taron Egerton's performance. They say he really brings depth to the character.
Taron Egerton, he's a fantastic actor. I'm always impressed by his range.
Yeah, he's got this way of making you empathize with his characters, even when they're making questionable choices.
Exactly, and that's important in a thriller like this. You need to connect with the protagonist, even if you don't agree with everything they do.
Absolutely. Now, on the flip side, the review did mention that the plot gets a little convoluted towards the end.
Oh, that's interesting. So a bit too much going on.
Yeah, it sounds like there are a lot of twists and turns, which, can be exciting, but also...
Yeah, it can backfire if it's not handled well.
Right, like you want to keep the audience guessing, but not leave them totally lost.
Exactly. It's a delicate balance to strike between complexity and clarity.
And speaking of unexpected turns, get this. Jason Bateman is the antagonist.
Wait, Jason Bateman? Like Michael Bluth? Jason Bateman?
The one and only.
Wow, that's a departure from his usual comedic roles.
Right. I mean, we're so used to seeing him as this sarcastic, witty character, and now he's playing a villain.
I wonder if that's a deliberate choice by the filmmakers, to kind of subvert expectations and play with our perception of him.
Yeah, it definitely adds an element of surprise, and I'm curious to see how he utilizes his comedic timing in this more sinister role.
Yeah, it could be really interesting to see that dark humor mixed in with the thriller elements.
Now, the review also touched on the supporting characters, played by Sophia Carson and Danielle Deadwyler. They said both actresses gave solid performances, but
their characters could have been more fleshed out.
yeah, it seems like that's a common criticism of action thrillers that focus heavily on the protagonist's journey.
Yeah, sometimes the supporting characters end up feeling a little underdeveloped, almost like they're just there to move the plot forward.
Exactly, and it sounds like that might be the case here, although the review does emphasize that the actresses themselves do a good job with the material they're given.
Right, so the performances are strong, even if the characters themselves aren't as well defined as they could be.
So if we're summing up, it sounds like Carry On is banking on a few key elements. The suspenseful atmosphere, Taron Egerton's performance, and this really unique setting.
Right, it seems like they're aiming for a movie that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Exactly. And while the convoluted plot and the underdeveloped supporting characters are potential drawbacks.
It's worth remembering that this is just one reviewer's opinion, and you know what they say about opinions.
Everyone's got one.
Exactly. So it's entirely possible that you might watch Carry On and find that the plot twists are actually really clever, or that the supporting characters serve their purpose well.
Right, and that's what we always encourage here. Think for yourselves. Don't just take our word for it or the reviewer's word for it. Check out the movie and decide for yourselves.
Absolutely. Form your own opinions.
So to wrap things up, Carry On sounds like a decent entry into the holiday thriller genre. It's got some potential flaws, but also a lot going for it.
Right. But here's a final thought to ponder.
Hit us with it.
Yeah. We've talked about how the airport setting on Christmas Eve adds to the stress and tension, but does it maybe go a little too far? Like, does the festive backdrop clash with the thriller vibe, or does it actually enhance it by adding this layer of irony?
Ooh, that's a great question. Something to consider while you're watching.
Definitely.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive, but be sure to check out Carry On Netflix and let us know your thoughts. Does the tension Egerton's performance and the unique setting outweigh any potential shortcomings?
We want to hear from you.
Until next time, happy holidays and happy viewing.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.